And here we go, everyone. Take two on the reality show tonight, if you will. So, this has been obviously divinely timed with what you would call divine uh, technical things to delay it, but also the timing is great for North America, if you will. So, having said that, as you can see with the title, again, answering Ascension questions that any of you may have, with also some little updates. I like to begin this one with the message from Father this morning that everything is going perfectly fine with the divine plan in the Ascension. So, that's a very important message to share with all. So, how's my feed working here with this? Hello, Dana. I'll check the feed, make sure it's not any interruptions, that it's working fine. If you can give me some feedback, that will be great. And I'll ramble on. So, having said that, let's look at where should I go? What I wish to look at first, and what I'll begin to. Hello, everyone. What I'll begin to speak about is just about 2 hours ago, there was an M1, Decimal 1 flare. Now, the timing of this flare was 2017 uh, UTC, Universal Time. And I also need to take you back to December 14th with the X2 decimal 8 flare that occurred at 1702. So these, how will I put this? So what I had said on December 14th with the X flare, the timing of it, and maybe I did not put out some more numbers on Facebook, but the timing of that was important. So 217 is Mother and Father God, if you will, but it also marked a very important 3 day period from the 14th until the 17th. We're in Romania, so for us it just is actually the 18th now, but it's 17th for North America. So it was a 3 day period uh, with this, what it marked. And the M1 decimal 1 flare tonight occurred at 2017, which is the inversion that had occurred on the 14th. So on the 14th, the X flare was at 1702. Tonight, the M1 flare was at 2017. And also, this is in relation to the 144 and 1441. What you have is the inversion, but you have two realities, if you will, indicating duality with that. But this flare tonight is a time stamp that the 3 days that were mentioned, that were important between the 14th and 17th, have now come to a close with that period. And it was an energetic period, if you will, that many things occurred on what we call the lower timeline. And there is uh, two timelines by states of being that are very distinct. There is the lower and there is the upper timeline. So there are two different timelines that are playing out. And what I wish to say for those of you that are part of, let's say, the first, second waves of ascension in your development, um, for you that have embodied the Christ and the connection to the Christ, if you will, the Christ consciousness, for you, when you use the revelations as a guideline, which it is a guideline, then what you will find, us, are actually at the end of the revelations, and we are in the golden age, if you will. The Christ has already come to you. It's just the Christ consciousness. So therefore, we are in the new age, building that new reality, while the lower timeline, if you will, are ones still going through their courses, and they'll identify with certain stages of the revelation, but they are almost through that as well. So for them, they will think that things have not come to pass. For example, they're waiting for Christ, if you will. They're still looking for signs on this level. However, what we need to say is that for us, it has already occurred. Just for them, the realization for them has not fully developed yet. However, it's not to demean nor belittle. It is to show uh, the factual way of how things are occurring with this ascension. So I needed to point that out. Now, your numbers are important to various degrees, and it depends on the individual's perspective of what the numbers does for them. For example, ideally, when one sees, let's say, 1111, it's a it's a generic code, if you will, but it also raises one's vibration, and it catches the attention, and that's what these numbers are really for as well. And yes, by seeing 111 enough, it can awaken one to get them to begin to pay attention that the odds are astronomical to see that in a day, and that begins, if you will, their journey. But also continuing with their journey, when you see the repetitive numbers like 333, 999, and you see these at very conspicuous times, and you see them perhaps more prevalent in a day, it lets you know that everything does happen for a reason, and that there is more design to your reality than what you think it is. Things are not random. Things do happen for a reason, and I'll be putting out some more information on the reason for this, that things do happen for a reason, for reasons, and also to be able to navigate a little bit more easier by knowing that and what it means when these things happen. Everything that occurs is multi-layered with perspectives and information that is read from different perspectives as you excel, as you go forward in widening your consciousness as it expands. Then you begin to read things differently. And to keep it simple, truth is always constantly changing. And for example, before you were awakened, you thought that that was the truth of the world where you were at. But once you were awakened, you were into a whole different new reality that you did not know existed before. But it's very, very real, and it is a new truth. And so, very importantly, it is important to know that truth changes and to keep an open mind always. Don't don't restrict yourself by drawing conclusions to things, because also in this ascension, it can be very tricky at times. For example, if someone does something that doesn't seem like it's of the light, what can also happen is that it's important not to judge them, because they could come back later on and be definitely of the light. And what you wish not to do is to pass the judgment and draw conclusions, because it can be tricky with the overall ascension going forward. So, and hello everyone, Lucy, and all of you coming in. So, with that, if you have any questions so far, you can put them here in the chat, and I'll scroll, have a look, and hello everyone, and thank you, Jane, and love and light to all of you as well. So this last period has what you would call, what I had to write when I put it out divinely, atypical symptoms. This means these are symptoms that are not the norm, if you will, with the usual bag of ascension symptoms. And some of the new symptoms that is more widespread with this, particularly these last 3 days between the 14th and the 17th, there were new symptoms that had to come through for this time, because there was more powerful upgrades that were occurring between the 14th and the 17th. Now, on the 14th, it typically takes 3 days for new upgrades to be fully integrated, especially if they're as intense what was set out on the 14th. So we have come to the 3rd day of that integration period with, let's say, all of your new gifts and your new abilities that were delivered from that period are culminating now. So you may begin to notice you got even more new gifts. But if we back up in the last 3 days, we look at your ascension symptoms, what had occurred. And some normal ones is the barometric pressure. And now what occurs, what you need to realize with air, what will sound like water in the air, water uh, or ear infection, also like the popping of the ears. This all has to do with barometric pressure, even though you're not in a plane, you're on the ground. What is actually occurring is your physical vessel is increasing in its energetics. It's evolving internally the way that it works to be able to withstand different pressures in a different energetic reality and environment. So it's part of your upgrades with this, and also by recognizing, that the barometric pressure has suddenly changed, because the reasoning for this, it is also a denser energy than what you are. So you're going to feel it at ground level here now, which you are, because you are upgrading into higher, purer light. So very quickly and distinctly, if there is an atmospheric pressure change, which is caused by pure light energy, you're going to notice it much more quickly and even on the ground level, because also you're becoming more sensitive. You're becoming more in tune with your higher existence by knowing what's not in tune with your lower existence. So there's many symptoms that are involved with this. So when you begin to, let's say, experience barometric pressure drops, which let's say if you're in Europe, if there's not a huge storm coming in, like a weather bomb that drops the barometric pressure, if there's none of that there and you're experiencing that, then it lets you know that your energetic values are evolving very quickly and that you are under uh, instrumental change for the new reality, because everything is energy, and everything within you is being rewired with the nervous system, because again it has to do with electrical impulses and how you are resonating, how you are vibrating, which dictates, if you will, your reality that you will reside in. But it's all together with all of us as we go forward, creating at least the heaven on earth scenario, which is part of the ascension. So, um, and I'm going to answer a couple questions here in a few moments. Also, like intense muscle ache, and this physical vessel had it, that I had to stretch. Father said you got to stretch. So you do your full body stretches and all of this, and immediately afterwards, or shortly afterwards, you will find that it alleviates the tension in the muscles, if you will. So you've got to stretch also, because there is also new things occurring with the body. So there is a sort of rehabilitation that you must do for the physical vessel. And the stretching does assist. Now also, because everything happening energetically can get reflected into the physical. Now, more notably, with many of the divine feminine and some divine masculine, depending on how much you are connected with Mother Earth and Mother as a whole, when we are going through substantial timeline shifts upward, you are birthing a new timeline, a new reality that is different than the one you're currently in. And this is ongoing now because you have so many co-creators that are creating new tributaries of timelines and new timelines. And anytime you have a significant timeline shift that is occurring, being birthed, if you will, just going into it, it is perfectly normal to have what you would call labor pains. Now, this is mentioned also in the Bible, where Jesus had alluded to labor pains in Daniel, I believe, as well. And this is so. So you can experience maternal symptoms of birthing, birthing symptoms. So it can get reflected into the physical vessel, and it's perfectly normal. You can have abdominal swelling, very quick. Your tummy will swell up like if you're pregnant. The labor pains with that. You also can begin to lactate, if you will, and swelling of the breasts. All of these are perfectly normal, even though you may not be pregnant, if you will, because it's how strong you are connected to Gaia, the planet, and also Mother, as we transverse the energetic timelines, because you are a part, you are playing a role with it. So you will also get some physical effects, and these are to be gauges for you to know what is actually going on, and to also know that at least there's something substantial and it's all energetic, and with whatever that entails for you to learn about on your ascension journey. All right, I'll stop rambling, have a look at some questions here. I believe I saw some here. Thank you. And Tantric yoga, hello, Leona. Any info regarding winter solstice coming in, Rika? Yeah, with December 20 and 21, again, significant dates. Typically in the past, in the northern hemisphere, typically around December 21 or 20, that was the shortest, that was the least daylight hours in the northern hemisphere. And then after the 20th, the daylight hours began to lengthen out. So it, and much deeper than this, it's an important, how will I say this? It's an important beginning as well, because you're beginning a new era of the light, for the next upcoming at least 6 months. So it's an important area where not only is more daylight being delivered to the northern hemisphere, but more photonic light as well to the individuals that also assists in expediting the natural evolution of your physical vessel. But also, where you have the beliefs which are so strong in the equinoxes, if you will, and the change of the seasons, it's always been prevalent that it's been noticed these certain dates over time, and they are pertinent to whatever degrees that ones feel that they are, but they are also pertinent beyond what ones may feel they are. So, having said this, without diving too deep into that, yes, what we're looking at, December 21, I've been given that, Femke, and we also know the importance of the solstice, if you will. So, having said this, yes, and as we keep going forward, every date and every day, if you will, has more significance because you have a more of an energetic focus on to these dates, these times, from co-creators that are becoming more powerful. So what they're actually doing is putting and setting the stage for these dates to have more profound and miraculous things occur, if you will. So they are significant. Now look at Nancy White. How can we become love itself in this world that makes us choose one? Don't want to take your time. Maybe message if you feel. Hi, Nancy. Well, at, it's so important to become love and choose love, but that begins with you to begin to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you really cannot emit it outward. You can emit out a false love, if you will, but without loving yourself, to the utmost fullest degree, then it depends on how much love you're putting out. If you love yourself a little bit, you're going to put out a little bit of love. But if you love yourself a big way, you're going to put out big love. You're going to change things. So it's important for each to love theirself, not in a conceited manner, but in a modest manner, and to accept yourself and love yourself, and to get rid of any low self-esteem, because when you look at a low self-esteem, it is fear-based and it will control you and, let's say, keep you in a closet. You are divine ones. We are divine ones here that are to be out there and for the other souls, for the people, and to shine. And if we're not to express our divine identity through our divine ego, nothing ever changes. The darkness would run all over everyone. So it's important for each to play your divine role and be out there and speak of love, speak of peace, and speak of truth, but also speak it with conviction. But to have conviction, you have to begin to love yourself. And then you build on that and practice kindness. And also activate more of your morality and your intrinsic self-worth is so important. Focus on these and know what is righteous, what is virtuous, what to accept and what not to accept, and everything else that it entails. So, um, so we are becoming love, to answer your question, and well, yeah, ones can choose love or fear, but uh, even the most common sense will tell one to, choose love, choose peace, choose the good things. So it's an easy choice, with that. Thank you. Okay, just going through. Oh, I gotta scroll back up. Bangladesh, leg hurt so bad, heart palpitations. Yes, these are common, Pam. The heart palpitations, there's been in the last 3 days a huge upgrade to the physical heart, and it's restructuring as well. So if one's felt a little bit of tension in your heart, these are due to upgrades. And also with this, your heart, the muscles in your heart are changing to pump blood at a faster rate. So also some of the byproduct symptoms of this is hemorrhage in blood vessels in the eyes, and but it's nothing serious. What is occurring? Your blood pressure will rise, if you will, and let's say 150 over 90 or whatever it is normal for someone in the ascension going through this. So your blood pressure has to increase, because also your vibration is increasing. And when you look at this looping I'm making, this is your circulatory system with your blood, if you will, all through your body. So as this goes quicker and quicker, you're vibrating at a higher rate. And it's important because what's in what is in your blood, in your plasma of your blood, is your crystalline component. And the quicker your crystalline turns, the, let's say, to keep this simple, the bigger a field that it creates with you. And also, as you increase it exponentially, you you begin to not only affect your physical vessel, because this is what it's for, the outside reality as well. So this is also attached to your co-creator and manifestation abilities. And with these great powers comes great discipline as well. So this, your heart, physical heart, is going under transformation at this time. But also typically with the human heart, it is over here to the left, what I have put out. Also recognize your right heart in this time, and this is important to take the entire heart chakra, but it extends outwards as well, and it's part of um, energizing more of your Merkaba. For any of you that have your Kundalini light body already activated and know and can feel that, and for any that don't know it, it's a very real thing. And but this needs to be constructed. So by activating the left heart or the right heart on the masculine side, what you're also, it's going to get reflected out in your reality that you'll see more masculine as well going into their heart, beginning to, uh, let's say, beginning to integrate more of their morality as well that has been taken away. So as we go forward, everything is a masculine, feminine interrelation, but it is harmonic to the degree that when the feminine goes forward, the masculine must as well. So there's energetic principles that are divinely applied at any given time to ensure this harmonious upward spiral of advancement of both the masculine and the feminine as we go forward with this ascension. For the masculine, as I said, it was typically harder for more of their unconditional love was diminished or taken away from them, while with the feminine, because of the motherly, the maternal instincts and the bond between the children, that important unconditional love factor stayed there untainted to the degree that it was with the masculine. So it's very important as we go forward that the masculine have that unconditional love activated, but also the divine courage and the divine morality to know what is righteous and what is not, and the courage to no longer accept out there in reality what is not righteous, what is not moral, and this is the empowerment that's occurring now with the divine masculine to more stand for what is right instead of being controlled by the matrix, if you will, and constantly working to survive, still in that survival instinct, in that survival mode for their family. There needs to be the transitioning, and this is divinely ensured that it does occur. And what you can have right at this very moment is divine masculines that were not awake, awakening overnight and very rapidly as well. And just by what I just said, you can see the importance of this time and how it is also so indicative of what needs to occur, but it's also confirming that it is happening. So you will see your own confirmations to whatever degree and respect that you need to see them. So for I'm a messenger, if you will, a divine messenger as well, and I purvey all things outward that I need to. And Shauna, she had the silver glittery energy all around her yesterday, and a few others as well. And tonight I had it in the other when I began the other live too. So yeah, it's beautiful to see. It's very real. It's magical. It's like the pixie dust. But also your eyes have to be multi-dimensionally transitioned enough to see this, and also you need to be vibrating at a compatible level to see it as well. And this is why it's so important always to uh, keep the highest vibration that you can, because it's there that you witness more magic and synchronicities and clues. So it is good. Thank you. Looked a little bit like Robin Williams there, didn't I, for a moment? Anyway. Um, yes, Mylene, thank you for confirming bloating and nausea as well. Yeah. And yeah, Shauna almost can't eat. Indeed. Ellen, skin eruptions, intense itching and burning. Yes, so this is Eileen Joy. This is important as well because, again, so much is happening with your physical vessel, And your nerve endings, you have billions of them all over your body. It's how you feel things, it's how you feel touch. But these nerve endings also, they are not only are they receivers to know that when you're touched, they're also transmitters of energy, and it's all connected to your central nervous system. Now, what's occurring with your central nervous system is it's also being upgraded, and also neurologically and electrically, to be able to generate higher fields, higher and more intense auras as part of your co-creation. So part of this organic construction, if you will, is your nerve endings will be changed to more of a higher conducive plasma as well, and crystalline form. And what this will do is you can get tremendous itching with it at times. You can get like what is you think a bug is biting you, or what have you in the night. And you also have crystals that are coming through as well, because part of the transitioning with the nerve endings around the pores as well, they will put out little crystals, little secretions when your nerve endings are, let's say, like sap in a tree. So it puts it out there, and then it forms little crystals as part of the process. So it is not uncommon in your bed. You might have nice clean sheets you put on, go to bed, have a nice sleep, and get up in the morning, and you got a lot of grit in your bed, like if you were laying on the beach during your sleep time, if you will. But these little granules, if you will, are coming from you, as you know, and crystals are very real. In the past, I believe I shared a few posts with ones that did have some crystals coming out of their skin, and I had it occur too, but I don't think I posted about it. So burning, these are all transformations that is going on with ones that are ascending when it comes into your awareness, uh, that that you are ascending, that you are knowledgeable about the crystalline process. Then any of these symptoms, if you will, are for the most part ascension related. Everything is ascension related, but what I'm wishing to say that most of the symptoms are just mimics of old orthodox medicine, disease, and sickness. A lot of it is not real, if you will. Now, having to said this, it is each individual soul's choice, whatever they chose with the ascension to, let's say, make it look like a death process here when they ascended, or to keep going with these physical vessels, evolving them. So, having said this, it depends on the soul, and it's no one to say what a soul has chosen, because in reality, the soul, and with their connection to Mother, Father, this is the choice, what they make. If they choose to depart, leaving a physical vessel behind here, but what occurs is, that was to keep the mystery of life intact, and that's not what really occurs. And many knows that, this is not the end, that it's an instant change. And if you use the analogy of some NDEs, near-death experiences, you will see that ones actually have gone into another reality with that time, and it depends upon the individual, and they have a physical vessel when they are actually what they would call dead here in another reality. And so let me say that is very real as well, and it's how you transverse the realities. But what we're doing is taking the physical vessel, right into the heaven on earth scenario, the next level of ascension into hell, if you or heaven, yeah, if you wish. We're coming out of hell, going into heaven. So that's one way to envision it and look at it. And what to say, we're currently in what you could ascribe as um, a purgatory, where ones are making their last minute choices to uh, do the purity and go up into the heavens. So this is where everything, this layer right here, everything is being decided. And the quicker that one does all of the right things and the moral and things and the purity of their self, and of course the love, and that puts them in the good, secure place. Mylene, seeing sparks of light, yeah, in the dark when about to sleep, perfectly. Um, yeah, and chills. And Mylene, with the chills, one thing for all, when you feel a temperature drop, that is actually divinity, that is angelic. See, because angelics, light is actually cold. So when you feel that, it's best to know that angels are close by, or also that you have risen your vibration that puts you in a higher dimensional state that is void of density and fear, because fear and density resides in a warmer state, and purity and pure light resides in a colder state. So it's important to also know that. Uh, and the sparks of light, yes, the orbs and the little sparks, and there's also the elementals, the fairies. There's also orbs of consciousness, that are little pin drops, but you can see them move at times. These orbs of very bright golden light, white light, and silver light. And you can also see some little red ones at times as well, with dragons. Will typically be red, if you will, little baby rainbow dragons, and all good things with that. So you can see, yeah, multicolored purple, violet, if you will. So you'll see different colors, because really, what energetics is, there are themes which are color coded with what energetics are prominent at any given time as well. So cool. So I'm looking here to see if there's any more questions. Oh, I saw some ringing in the ears, someone had mentioned. Well, just having a look here, there's a lot of comments here, and the chat screen is like kind of small, so. I see a med bed thing here. People preoccupied on these. Really, what I need to say, you are your own med bed as well. It's what you believe in. If your mind can make you sick, if you will, your mind can also cure you. So it's very important to know. But you need to individually, it's with the individual, how much you are in tune with your physical vessel, Also, there's a lot at play of how much you're allowed divinely to magically cure the vessel. For example, I'll use an example of myself uh, with sciatica. Several years ago, I had that, and it was very bad. I was saying, Father, Father, come on, why do I have to have this? And nevertheless, I didn't complain. I go into the pain and look at all of this, what's involved with it. And I understand, that it really was not mine, if you will, but it was delivered to I. And so, to keep a long story short, with one of those huge bouts that kept me from going into a village to get some antioxidants and like some pineapple, turmeric, and celery to get a good high vibrational uh, uh, organics into the body, I was prevented to. So I said, all right, I'll cure myself. So without asking permission from Father, if you will, uh, I very quickly stopped all the pain. And with a big smile on my face, I was ready to go to town. All of a sudden, boom, just come back in and just incapacitated me. I said, Father, like, why? And that was one time that Father's words were stern. He said, there is no other way. And so his actual voice I'd heard by the ear, I believe, that time. And but with it, then I said, okay, why? And very quickly he says, uh, if you were to go in that little town, that there is someone else, divine one, that is in there, but also you're not to go in there, that you will affect a timeline. And it's divinely ensured, that you stay put. And it's also divinely assured that someone else will come to you, if you will. So there was a lot of things involved with that. Meaning, and the point of what I'm making with this, even though we have all of these abilities, sometimes it's divinely overruled. But the point is that you always try and you always trust it. And if it doesn't work for you, then you know that there is something divinely going on that is beyond your present means, if you will, to fix it. So, and with the med beds, as we go in a higher vibration with the planet, yes, all of this technology with med beds and things is there. But the problem right now is who is in the control of what is occurring upon the planet. Because this is the problem. Who is controlling the monetary system and the fictional legal system? Who is controlling that? It's not the people, but the way that they control it, they create density and false flag things, fear, because it's fear that keeps our world intact, and it's fear that keeps one from all of this technology that resides in the higher vibration. But having said this, what we are doing is we are constantly raising the vibration, and upon raising that vibration and going forward, these med beds will be available for ones to assist them in the future. But the thing is, what needs to occur first is that the majority of the planet has to agree to taking ownership of all of the technology and all these good devices. Then it is shared equally. Without that ownership taken of what we speak about in GPMS, well, these med beds and all of these advanced technologies like time travel and all of this is kept from the general public. And with this, time travel has been upon the planet with let's say it's been accessible to organic beings for over 100 years, and these things were utilized in nefarious ways. But having said this, quickly as we go forward, there is so much advanced technology that is delivered to the planet in such a way that it's already here being unveiled, and also new things to come. But with with the psyop aspect of the midmids, what you're saying, it's keeping people dependent upon a certain outcome that is they're given, that it's going to be taken care of by someone else. So there's a codependency, but what it's doing, it's also limiting the action of these ones, while many other things are playing out on the planet. So it creates a codependency. And it's important for ones to know that medbeds are real, but how you're going to get them, you have to take the tangible action towards it. You know, it's been, these things have been attempted by co-creators to just shift reality, but the truth is, no, you just cannot turn your back and walk away from the rest of humanity by shifting your reality. You're here in a physical vessel to manually take humanity forward. This is what this is about. We have so many ascended ones upon the planet to get their memory back, to know that this is a selfless mission. It's not a selfish mission about yourself, do all the work, and you ascend and leave everyone behind. Selfishness is not a God attribute. And this is very important to recognize this. It takes all in unity and togetherness working together. As with Father told I in the beginning, he who tries to go first will go last. And let me say, that is so true. So the last time I heard that from Father, when I wanted to abort the mission, I said, this is taking too long. And those were his words. No, you get back there. And uh, put you at the bottom. But I went to the bottom myself. You look at my attire and look at what I would be called is, from the unawakened ones, a bum, if you will, a homeless bum, if you will. But this is part of my disguise. I'm right where I need to be, and I'm fine with it. But having said that, no, I identify with all of the meek, if you will, the ones that have been on the bottom, because it's from the bottom we take everything forward and go up. All of the beautiful, good souls in poverty and lack. This is where the divine good ones are at, and they must go forward. And so I put myself down into those areas where they're at, so I can more readily identify with all, and to be there to not give them not only hope, to also show them the direction, show them what we are building, what we already have built that is upon the planet for them, and that is GPMS dot world. That is very real, and it's the divine plan, and it's done logically, that someone doesn't even need to be awake to be able to conceive it, to perceive it. It is very simple, but, but it's yeah. Let's have a look at what else you got here. Trish, Buddy, crystals, yeah, and sees glitter on her face, yeah, all good things. Hi, Victoria. We got Merkava ships here. Victoria Littlequest with the Merkava ship. She has great videos and great great experiences to share with all. And from time to time, I will put out, some of her messages to humanity as well. But there's always ships around where Femke and I are at, and a few more conspicuous Mother Merkaba ships in the last several days, which is so beautiful. And Merkaba ships are what you would think is stars, but they're flashing all the different colors, and they're not geosynchronous, geosynchronous satellites. They're none of that. These are actual ships, and they can do a lot of good things. But you also need the multi-dimensional eyesight to be able to see them. To a normal, unawakened human, they'll look at the night sky and just think it's all white stars. But for ones, as you know, that has the multi-dimensional eyesight, you can look and you can see, pick out the Merkaba ships. You also can pick out a different sky than what someone not awakened is seeing as well, because of your multi-dimensional abilities. Hi Terry, very tired. Yeah, another symptom. Does that extend the age, and or are we still in a vessel with an expiry date? Thanks, Janae just asked an important question. Uh, what has occurred recently for those that it resonated with? It put out the instruction because a few weeks ago I had to go and do it myself. Had to consciously, um, what's the easiest way to say these things so it's easily understood? Consciously, just say I'm in the eighth dimensional state, and just by doing that and putting one into that um, stasis, eighth dimensional stasis with your consciousness, what you picked up, if you will, is more of the codex. And by being in that state, you made an eighth dimensional energy, and by bringing it back into your body, it begins to get reflected into your organic vessel, that for those that have advanced enough with it in your crystalline process, yes, it extends the longevity of the planet, where we look at a ratio of 7 to 1, meaning that linear time, 7 days would go by, but with your physical vessel, only 1 day would expire or transpire for you. And when you uh, put this outward to look at a typical human, let's say life was 80 years old, uh, an average. It's higher than that, but just for simplicity's sake, when you now apply 7 times longer, then you come up with your physical vessel should be able to go for 560 years once you integrate these energetic values. But this is with your Merkaba and your Kundalini. When this is activated, this is your multi-dimensional ability to do this, and we transcend all time and space. And to get right to the point, once you have fully embraced your divine identity, multi-dimensional identity, with that, you can actually, as we keep going forward, you can keep these physical vessels alive for as long as you want, 1 billion years or forever, because with your soul and your energetics, you at that time have unlocked your conscious know-how to do it, to keep it simple. I see you've got some more questions there, but I'm just curious what we. Yeah, so we have. Hmm. Yeah. All right. I'll look at, I believe I covered what I had written down in notes. I'll look at here and see if there is some more. Got to, just give me a moment. I got to put some power on, and I'll look at some more of the questions here for a little bit. I see we're an hour into this, so I don't intend to have it much longer. I see Kate Lightworker says chip and salsa is a nope, and she usually eats clean, but won it last night and never again. Uh, with this, the more you advance your physical vessel energetically in an alignment with the ascension and all that that entails, your tolerance um, to, let's say, some foods, as long as they're not so bad, is greater as well. But you continuously need to be responsible and prudent with what you put in your body and keep it as clean as possible. But Femke and I, uh, yesterday, we had what you would call, it was made of pretty good stuff, but it was, I don't know what you call it here in Romania, but delicious, like a fried dough with some cheese in it. And for I, it would be like a no-no, but it was delicious to have that, and we can tolerate that, but not constantly. So you need to use your own discernment with it. And yeah, as Kate says, it didn't never again for her. So it's for her, she cannot tolerate that, at least now, with it. So each one's tolerance level is different, and of course you also have divinely what we call allergic reactions that will occur to the vessel that you will not be able to, let's say, a lactose intolerant one. This is a divine thing that occurs to assure you're not putting in a lot of animal DNA into that vessel. The same as with meat, when you can no longer eat meat for certain ones, you're not to have that genetic material in your vessel, and it's divinely assured. If you're told, if you're voluntarily don't follow your guidance where you shouldn't eat meat, and if you're not supposed to, it'll be divinely ensured that you'll get sick afterwards, if you will, in extreme cases that you cannot eat it. But you need to practice the responsibility, because the more you pay attention and follow your guidance, the quicker you excel and raise your vibration and assist with raising the overall vibration. But if you just keep prolonging things, then it keeps prolonging things not only with you but with the whole collective as well at raising this vibration. Because once we get this planetary vibration raised enough, it's all done. Once we take the planet to the heaven on earth scenario. So each one needs to know this, that it is very real, that you do have divine responsibilities with your energy and your vibration, and that this is very real, and it's important to pay attention to what you are given. Sally mentions sciatica, one of those ascension symptoms. Well, there's a lot of change occurring, and typically when you look at the lower back and also the tailbone has been disintegrating more and more for ones, there's always something affected with the physical vessel. With the sciatica, just in case you don't know, no white sugar, no white bread, no white flour that is not natural and organic. The white sugar is actually toxic and creates a lot of inflammation there as well. So you don't want white sugar. You don't want anything with chlorine in it as well. This is the reason why it's so toxic. And one of the reasons with chlorine, you don't want any excess in your body because you have natural chlorine uh, ion channels that enters right into your nervous system. And this is why what I always recommend, no chlorine and any derivatives of it. You got to keep your body clear of it, because if you oversaturate uh, your body with outside chlorine, there is natural chlorine which is regulated within the body. That's a natural occurrence, but you don't want to be adding any types of chlorine in any molecular arrangement from the outside into your body, because it does have harmful effects. So you need to be very meticulous with what you're doing with that. Also, by walking up and down flights of stairs assists with your sciatica to get the movement, to keep the stretching, and with that, also turmeric. Pineapple has bromelain in it, which is one of the very great um, antioxidants, and also other ingredients that's very good to assist with sciatica. And of course, blueberries is some of my preferences. So you can, and by having the turmeric, um, raw organic celery, and pineapple as a juice and mix it with good water, it is a very high vibrational drink. And what this does, it also increases the blood flow in the body, which also gets affected into quicker healing in the body as well. So it has phenomenal effects with healing. Laura says she has rods and pins in her spine and two plates in her forearms, and they are pinging right off the Richter scale the last few days. And she asked, does the metal in the body actually begin to deteriorate, because it almost feels like it? What I will say, that is quite possible, and also if it begins to interfere divinely too much with your energetic field, yeah, you may no longer need the rods and pins and the plates, and these things could be also removed. And it's also not impossible for bone regeneration as well, because what we are dealing with this ascension is regenerating the entire physical vessel. It's been evolving internally, depending upon the individual, for several years. Typically, in the past, it would take 7 years for every cell in a physical vessel to have at least replaced itself once. Things have sped up now with time and space, that as short as a year and a half, ones are having most of the cells in their body replaced by new ones, if you will, to a certain degree. And with this, you will have a lot more psoriasis, um, dry skin, if you will, and all of these things when your body goes into rapid periods of with the epidermis, your outer layers of your skin, with changing that. But also, it's happening internally, and it's not uncommon for ones to have blood in their urine or their feces, or even come out of your nose at times. And these are all common things as well, because what is actually occurring is the old cells, if they are a lot of old cells at once, are discarded as new ones come in. If you're under a rapid transformation, then you have an accumulation of many cells that may become more noticeable as they come out in the form of the blood, if you will. So there's a process with that it is common that you will see blood, and you could go to the doctors, if you will, as well, Orthodox doctors, and you could have blood in your urine and blood in your feces, and they'll find nothing wrong because what they are looking for is not what's occurring. Your physical vessel is under rapid uh, change, if you will. So this is the reasoning why a lot of doctors will not find anything wrong, because there is nothing wrong. The physical vessel is just undergoing a huge metamorphosis that is unknown to orthodox medicine. And Norman Stevens says, if time travel was real, why didn't anyone go back and stop the Holocaust? Well, my answer to that is time travel is very real. However, there were certain things that had to play out. So let's say it was very important and instrumental with the human playground of experience, at least. You know, sometimes there is benevolent negativity, that a few negative things have to occur to result in a huge positive. So it's the way that your perspective that you have on this. If you're able to look at it in a different way, then perhaps you could see the reasoning why, if you will. And this is a broad subject that I could speak for ramble a long time on. But let's just say you're looking at go back. We're not going back. We're going into the future. You know everything that occurred. So we're not, don't need to go back to change that. We need to change what we're doing in this now to create the new future. So we don't go back to do that. There was many lessons, if you will, and many things learned from that. So that's all been done. It has transpired and it has expired as well. So it's important what we do now and where we keep our focus on going forward. Pets. I just, before it jumped there, I saw something about pets ascension. Oh, way up there. Celery and pineapple juice, yes, and turmeric. A spoonful of turmeric in about 1 liter of juice. Now there was, I'm just scrolling here. I see someone is psychic attacks, what Joanna is speaking about, and satanically ordered were happening to herself. Let me say, you know, in this time with any psychic attacks on ones, you are actually more powerful, or you would not even be here today to say this if the psychic attacks could actually hurt you to any degree. So where you're here to share this, what it actually means is that let's say the darkness is afraid of you, so they're trying to intimidate and control you through fear. And this is also part of your divine journey, so that you come more into your divine power as well. So you should be very happy and grateful that you're seeing these attacks, because it means you're very important and very powerful for them to take the time to do that. So what you do then, you focus on more of your power, and then, if you will, the psychic attacks, it vanishes by you doing the opposite and not giving it the power and not giving it the focus. So it's part of your divine training, if you will, is the way to look at it. So if anyone had some other questions, I might have there's a lot of comments here, and so I might have missed them. So, you know, there's so much more always that I could speak about. I've been speaking for years, and if we will, the topics are certainly endless, because everything does deal with the ascension, if you will, physically, mentally, consciously, psychologically, paranormally, supernaturally, divinely, galactic, with Mother Nature, all of that. Oh, the pets, yes, and the animals. Thank you, Father. Yes, and a very great what Femke put out the other day. Femke, was it an article or was it a video? It was a video.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
Pixie.
from Pixie. Yeah, Femke put it out, and I was going to share it on my timeline as well, but divinely I forgot. But I will put it out, and this is important for another higher level of teaching. And there was, I remember, several years ago, and you may still be able to find it, just do a Black Panther um, animal whisperer, I believe, and Black Panther. And you will see this in Australia, this uh, divine one that is able to telepathically communicate with this panther. And it's a very excellent documented video, and it also has, the valuable information to show and to accreditate that it is very true and powerful. Um, Now, what occurs with your animals? Um, Once you begin to awaken, and with your pets, you begin to directly affect their consciousness. And as you become to know that you're awakening, and you also know that animals have a soul, then you begin to connect with the animals on a soul level. And it's when you connect with them with that mutual respect, and you speak to your animals, the same as you would a person, because you're speaking to them as a soul, that begins to and everybody outside, that's Rocket. And I've been working with a couple dogs here, as well as Femke, at advancing their consciousness, because they're with us, and it is working, and it's so beautiful to see. But what occurs when your pets is in your proximity, as your consciousness is expanding, they also will come along for the most part, and they will begin to be more intelligent than the regular normal animals before. And one of the things what you will see, that yes, they ascend as well, but when you begin to see the white in their eyes, if it's an aged pet, if you will, with the dogs, they are ascending. And I like to say that their next incarnation here will be as a humanoid, if you will. And so this is beautiful, and yes, that your pets do ascend as well, but they also change during this ascension period, and you can telepathically communicate with them. And it depends, on the individual. Hold on. There we go. So it depends upon the individual and the divine plan, if you will. So we are still at the mercy of the overall divine plan that has everything regulated, meaning that not everyone is going to be instantly communicating telepathically with other animal souls, because that would just upset the whole cart, if you will, upon the planet. So this is why I say it's divinely regulated. But having said this, it is very real, and it is so. And what I encourage all of you that are listening, that it resonates with, to continue to work with the animal souls, and also in your own way. Um, you can also learn the animal souls, new things as well, to keep it simple. So, yes, the animals are ascending, but also I need to jump right forward. What is occurring as well with working with the animals, and what was in this beautiful, correct video that Femke put out the other day? The animal souls are collective consciousness as well. So, meaning that what we're working with here now is um, three three grown canine and some puppies. But what we're doing is seeding the higher love consciousness and sharing and teaching that into them. And what occurs as a result, this will ripple out, to the other dog consciousness, at least in this area. And what it does, it's preparing the time for, if you will, when the lamb lays down with the lion. Because again, this is the new world that we are creating, and it has been written about, but it's also true. We're going into a new world where actually a carnivore, like a wolf or a tiger or what have you, or a lion, they no longer need to eat meat. That they can actually, what happens is they don't really need anything to live off of. They don't need food. And if you look at some of the, perhaps it's written in some of the North American native legends about, especially a white wolf, if you will, and some wolves, where they have been seen for years physically, and the same wolf, which would also perhaps defy uh, the lifespan of a wolf. But these animals don't need to eat. Everything is like us, everything is actually in the air what you need. You just have the vessel evolved enough so that it can take the fuel directly from the air, that it doesn't need to eat, which is a primitive form of extracting energy for the physical vessel. And oh yeah, and so Pam says her dog has seen beings, absolutely, and I'm laughing because the little guy out here, I call him Rocket, uh, for the first time the other night. I saw him with his eyesight going. He's watching fairies, and I know he was because later I could see the little flickers going by, and I knew what he was looking at. So I had the opportunity to see that gift being turned on with him. And sometimes it's comical when they come to see these other things they don't normally see. They'll have sometimes a funny expression like, what is that? And of course, the cats can see these multi-dimensional and elemental beings all the time, and they are just so enjoyable to watch, as they look at the beings going all around the sky or around the top of the room, and you may not see them, but they are very real. So it's beautiful. So, uh, let me say, I'm soon going to end this. I've been on here over an hour. And hey, Brother Sam, nice to see you. 77. Excellent. Um, Destry has a question. She said she had a hard time getting off of psych drugs. Just jumped her uh, over 30 years ago. Will it become easier for me to come off of them as we change? Yeah, yeah, most certainly. See, what we're doing is raising the overall vibration again of the planet. And part of raising this is by increasing the joy upon the planet and the real hope. And this is what we're doing with the divine instrument vehicle GPMS dot world. What it does, it liberates all from the lower density and also from the reasons of being depressed and taking drugs and all of these pacifying agents, including cigarettes, if you will. You know, what we're doing is raising the vibrational bar where ones are set free of these lower density fears that are being generated by so many. So when you take that out of the equation, this means sickness no longer exists because, again, 99%, if you will, of sickness or is caused by stress. So what we're doing with GPMS dot world, which is the divine plan, it eradicates all the stress upon the planet. So hence, it also creates the miraculous healing once everyone is in joy and are not fighting to survive, that everyone has more than enough, then they are in a loving, joyful state of being, and no longer is there being any animosity, negativity, uh, negative emotions being generated because they don't exist in a world where everyone has everything because uh, the whole mentality and the whole being of everyone changes. So it's not up there. It cannot reside in that sort of a place. And metaphysics fully shows this. And this is also why the Ascension is occurring to take humanity out of the animosity that they keep regurgitating in the past and out of the savagery to put them in a civilized world where there is no misery and no density and no reason to take drugs. There is no one depressed because there's nothing to be depressed about, if you will, and also cleaning up the planet of chemicals and things in your food that, you know, especially make children sick and everyone else. So I don't want to go into that very much, so thanks. Gary Stucci says, are we looping with regards to war and politics? Let me say, the more focus that is kept on that, it does create a sort of a prolongment, a hindrance with that. Because we're going into a world where war and politics doesn't occur. And if ones keep energizing that, then that is like a looping that keeps us, it prolongs us from advancing into the full free world. So it's important that ones have their conscious focus and attention towards the full, abundant, free world that they wish to create. And what Gary's saying, current wars and upcoming American presidential election, you know, politics does not play a part, again, of the new world. So this is being resolved as false narratives and false timelines are imploding as well, where they cannot go anywhere. Um, so there is a lot playing out right now. Let me say that the wool is being lifted from many eyes that were part of these false narratives, and exponentially they're beginning to see the truth of everything. So many are ascending from these false narratives and these false looping directions that robs them of their value and robs them of their freedom and robs them of their identity and gives them their full in, inter independence, but in a different way, in unison with all of the other God sovereign free individuals that are not controlled by anything. And what we're doing with GPMS dot world, the divine plan, we've kept it simple under the premise or under the foundation of the new law for the planet is do no harm, but also with one of your unalienable rights, but perhaps the most important one, is the right to self determination. And what this means is your freedom of choice on how you wish to be governed or ruled. But the choice is you don't wish any outside ones to govern and rule and dictate what you can do and what you cannot. So you have the choice to choose yourself, which is your full autonomy as your ruler in only the moral and righteous ways. So by doing this, um, GPMS is the planetary ascension vehicle, where each one goes on and when they're in agreement with it, they give their consent, and there is a proclamation, a decree there, which activates fully their unalienable rights. And these are your God-given rights. These are your inherent, intrinsic rights that no one can take away, nor can compromise to any degree whatsoever. They are your God-given rights because you exist. And this is also the natural, real law, and it is the most absolute law upon the planet. It's God's law that is superior over any artificial laws, which are man-made laws. Those are artificial laws, so their whole legal construct, what they impose upon others, is man-made. It's inferior to the God-given laws, the God, you know, with that, it's to realize it yourself. We say they're God-given because once you realize this, that it comes from the godly state of being, if you will. So, without getting into a deeper definition, if you will, with that, and to keep things simple. So it's important that, yes, the whole new world is being built very quickly. And again, with GPMS dot world, there's about 74,000 that have agreed to create this new world now. And this is a cumulative vote that we just keep going till we got the majority in agreement. Then this new abundant world is here. Then it eradicates every bit of poverty, every bit of lack. Everyone has your full freedom to travel anywhere around the planet that you choose. You don't need to work to live. You thrive by only contributing a fraction of hours to the worldwide community, a fraction of hours of to what you are working now in receiving constantly in a robotic, monotonous cycle of having to work to survive, if you will. That's all being eliminated. We're going to the most equal new world where everyone is equal. And to do this, the capitalistic society is imploding, and everything that it entails that has robbed in the past the value from humanity, that has created the illusion that something outside of them was more valuable than the individual. And this is prevalent when you look at healthcare systems, if you will, where one needs to pay if they have something wrong with them. It shows you that society has looked at money being more valuable than the individual, which is savage and it's insane. You know, we are the priority. Money wouldn't exist if a soul wasn't upon the planet. So we're restoring the full power into the individuals and bringing the individuals together as a whole to do what is right, what is morally right upon the planet, and that is to eradicate the poverty and the suffering completely. The fact is, with this planet, uh, it can feed 10 times as much of the present population very easily and beyond. But right at this present capacity, what is being utilized, it can feed 10 times the population that is presently on the planet. And as we uh, unlock and take ownership worldwide of all of the other new technologies that is technologies and modalities. Uh, Food is a limited, it's a limitless, it's unlimited supply as well for everyone, and it will be shared equally, and it will be grown very quickly. When you take money out of the equation as being a limiting factor, and this is what we're doing with GPMS, then everyone has access to everything they need, and there is no restrictions or limitations on food then. Um, and also, you know, I like to use examples where the deserts can be lush growing areas because you just put the wells into the aquifers, all kinds of water. You can grow huge crops. You can even grow crops in Antarctica, you know, in greenhouses as well, because money becomes no object where it's unlimited money to do so. So these are just a little bit of the goodies of GPMS, and just to show ones how it completely transitions humanity forward, and also in alignment with the planetary ascension. You know, enough is enough, and one's are awakening to higher and higher degrees to know that this is what everything has happened for humanity to transition into civility in the least. So thank you. And Robbie has teeth teeth falling out and painting the fillings. Yeah, that's perfectly normal. The physical vessel will reject them, and yeah, get your if you feel to get your teeth all out, go and get them all out by all means. You follow what you feel with it. Also, the technology is already upon the planet, mostly in Japan, is where it at least originated from by using stem cells to grow your own teeth back. But there's also, you can do it yourself once you're allowed to tap into that ability as well. So, so great. And Gwen Kaiser, unlimited chocolate cake, she says. Woohoo. And Zoran, buddy, good to see you. And just have a look here. I'm soon going to end this. I'm an hour and 40 minutes in it. Yeah. Uh, so, nevertheless, there may be some questions that I didn't answer, but we've answered quite a bit. This has been a long session, and I keep very busy. Femke as well. We monitor, if you will, to the degrees the advancement of the lower timeline as well as the higher timeline, and what I say, doing activations that I say, come on, Father, why do we need to do these? But it's very obvious that we need to, because everything is creation is energy, so we need to change energy as co-creators here, and it does have the effect on reality. So we do activations, we assist individuals, we work also as divine teams, task group at least when we do certain things, and constantly building and constructing GPMS dot world, which is the new world, and spreading that in awareness, and sharing, the purveyances from the conveyances as well, the messages from Father, the updates, and from Mother, the updates in the Ascension, and yeah, lots of things. I actually work harder than what I did when I was just human now. I'm working from the time I get up till, more or less the time that this physical vessel lays down in the night, and then it begins the etheric work, if you will. So we keep very busy with what we're doing. And we're getting so close. I believe someone wrote in there that yeah, we are getting very close. A lot of you can feel it. How much more um, must happen uh, before uh, enough realize and makes the quick choice to change the world. With GPMS, dot world, the divine plan, right from this moment, everything could change for that beautiful heaven on earth scenario in about a month under the right conditions, and perhaps even quicker. However, there is the divine plan that is rapidly transitioning ones to make this choice for the new world. So there's so many variables at play that for I at least you cannot put a pinpoint a definite time on it, other than knowing every day more and more are agreeing, consenting, adding their agreements, and it's inevitable. So we're getting closer and closer with every day that goes by, and ones choose to live in the heaven on earth reality. And once we have the majority, it is done. This present reality that you're in, it exists because the majority accepted it and also didn't know they had a choice. Many were tired of this reality for years, but there was no other choice until GPMS world that come here about 3 years ago, if you will. So now the choice is here once they have had enough of this and can see it. So however long it takes to get the majority, and what I say with that, all of the prominent influencers, all of the healers on the planet, all of the gurus, all of the ascension teachers, all of the spiritual teachers, all of the intuitive coaches, what have you, should be carrying GPMS and give it to, their people, and ones that they are assisting. Because when you look at it, um, a lot without knowing that GPMS is here, they have no real hope, no real direction. And when you're assisting one, if you give them the real hope, the real direction, and the peace and loving world of GPMS, what you actually do, you're more beneficial to them in that moment by raising their vibration through the logic of what GPMS world is. And then it begins to alleviate their stress, and then they rise in their consciousness much quicker because it's fear and stress, and without a direction, they they will tend to stay longer in stress, and you'll have more of a harder job trying to heal them because the thing that is causing them to be sick is this outward uh, reality, this outward environment that we're typically in. So we change the whole environment to the heaven on earth, and then you just cure everyone instantly. So it's that simple for a healer, but you need to assist us in giving the ones that you're assisting, say, hey, it's not going to be very long. This is actually happening. It's not a fantastic imaginary thing. It is concrete, it is tangible. And when you go on our website, you can see that materially everyone is putting in their agreements that is adding to create this majority voice. So it is the real thing. And it's not an illusion, it's not a trick, it is the divine plan. So if you're healing and assisting ones, it's very important to spread this message at this time. And all digital warriors, if you will, that were out there, you need to know what everything was occurring for to take us to the heaven on earth scenario. So instead of focusing on all the problems, please put out the solution. We have it right here. Once you put your focus towards the solution, we get it done quicker and all of your problems just fall away. So it's common sense where you put your focus at, you continue to energize. So with that, I'm getting this humanoid throat's getting a little bit hoarse. That means it's time to close this down. So the white horse is here. We have it all done, and so it's beautiful. And Gwen Kaiser says, not a single light worker, or many, that she knows will get on board with GPMS. She said it's so frustrating. Gwen, they are just very quickly they will come at the level to recognize this. Again, with any light worker, one of their levels of learning is metaphysics, and also GPMS is fully metaphysics as well. To the extent what I just said, it alleviates stress, and when you look at physics and apply it to this new world, this is it, and it's what it does. So they will get it, and they're getting it much quicker. But let me say, there's a lot of intrusion and infiltration in light worker groups as well to lead them astray. But divinity is absolute, so sooner or later they'll see the higher truth and get out of where they were led astray at as well, and join in quickly. So everything is divinely ordained. We persevere and just be persistent at testing the water when they're ready for it, when they're open to see the solution and the planetary ascension. When they're open to know what's going on, they will receive it. And we have seen ones, I have, yes, that have transitioned, if you will, enough to see GPMS and then, boom, expedite forward as well. So it does happen. So with that, peace, love, the big love, and many winks. And as Father said earlier today, how I began the show, everything is going to perfect divine plan. And the way it was said also, the energy come to that we're all doing an excellent job on here. The ground crew, which includes all of you, all of us. There's about 4.83 million. So we're doing an impressive job, and let's say we almost got the mission accomplished. But we're getting closer, and that's what's important. And the light has already won. We have already played this out energetically, if you will, and we're back here from the future as well, playing the roles out organically to take the human playground into the heaven on earth. So it's all ordained, it's all preordained divinely. The ascension is ascertained, and nothing stops it. And this is the divine covenant, the divine promise from Prime Creator, and it is there. There's no refuting nor denying that. So we keep supporting it and substantiating it with every goodwill thoughts and knowing as well. So thank you. Love, light, and gratitude. Have a great time wherever you may be.